collector efficiency factor F dash is a function of overall heat loss coefficient UL and inside heat transfer coefficient HFI. So, but these two are up to a certain extent they are temperature dependent. But F dash is not a strong function of F dash doesn't depend on temperature. Let us see the variation of F dash with UL. So this characteristic shows a variation of UL with respect effect of UL on the collector efficiency factor. So on x-axis overall loss coefficient, which varies from 2 watt per meter square Kelvin till 10 watt per meter square Kelvin, and then the effect is shown as the overall loss coefficient goes on increasing, the collector efficiency goes on increasing. So loss goes on increasing, the collector efficiency factor goes on decreasing. So this is the effect of loss coefficient on F dash. Now what is the effect of convective heat transfer coefficient? Now on x-axis here, tube inside heat transfer coefficient in the range of 100 watt per meter square Kelvin to 500 watt per meter square Kelvin is plotted, and then the collector efficiency factor varies from say 0.295 or 0.29 to 0.31, so or in the vicinity of 0.32. So it increases with increase in the tube heat transfer coefficient. There is an increase in the collector efficiency factor. So this is the desired effect. Okay, but the effect when you compare this with the effect of UL on F dash, the range is from you can say 0.3 or 0.28 to 0.8. The variation is very remarkable here. But here the variation is not much remarkable. It is just 0.295 till 0.31. So the effect of overall heat transfer coefficient on F dash is more pronounced than the effect of HFI on the F dash. So this is about the now so far we discussed about temperature distribution across the flow. Now let us analyze temperature distribution along the flow, that is along section 2.2. Now again calling the same figure here. Now we are interested in finding out the temperature distribution along the flow, that is section 2.2. All the other parameters, all the other configuration remain the same. So this shows the sketch of the single tube. This is the single tube cross section in which fluid is entering at a temperature TFI and it is coming out or exiting at a temperature of TFO. The length of the tube is L. Now consider a control volume. We are considering a control volume of dy, of length dy of the tube. Now applying the first law of thermodynamics, law of conservation of energy to this tube. Now what will be the law of conservation of energy for this control volume? Rate of change of enthalpy of the fluid flowing through the control volume, that must be equal to rate of heat transfer to the fluid inside. Okay, so how we can write this? This is the equation, but before we discuss the equation, this is the temperature distribution. As the tube is receiving heat, as the plate and tube assembly is receiving the heat over its length, the temperature of water goes on increasing at its temperature of the fluid, we can say, not water. A fluid goes on increasing as it flows from this point to this point. So this is the temperature variation, temperature distribution of fluid flowing through the tube in a flow direction. Okay. So now coming back to the analysis of the equation, m dot is the fluid flow rate m dot for the entire assembly. So if m dot is the total fluid flow here, m dot divided by number of plates n, number of risers n, becomes m dot by n per single tube, flow rate of single fluid flowing through a single tube. So this is simply mcp dt, mcp delta t. So m dot cp is the specific heat of the fluid which is flowing through. dTf is the change in the temperature of the fluid over the slice. So Tf into Tf plus dTf is the change in the temperature of the fluid. Now this is the rate of change of enthalpy of the fluid flowing through the control volume. Okay, now what is the rate of heat transfer to fluid flow inside? This is W spacing, tube spacing into F dash, collector efficiency factor. This is absorbed flux minus overall heat loss coefficient minus temperature of the fluid minus temperature of the, into temperature of the fluid minus temperature of the surrounding, that is ambient, over a length dy. So these changes are happening over length dy. Okay, so if we simplify this equation, becomes dTf by dy equal to Wf dash UL. So the equation reads like this. Now we need to integrate this equation. So if we integrate this equation, we will find we can get the value of temperature distribution in this. What is it? This type of solution we will get if we integrate this equation. So integrating the above equation and using inlet conditions. What are the inlet conditions or boundary conditions? We can say at y equal to 0, Tf is equal to Tfi. Okay, so now this is the y direction. At y equal to 0, Tf is equal to Tfi. And then at y equal to L, Tf is equal to Tfo. So these are the boundary conditions if we apply. Then simplification of mathematical formulation. The focus here is not getting into the mathematical complexity of the calculation and simplification. So mathematical formulation and its simplification yields the following set of expressions. These expressions are of interest. So the useful heat gain rate for the collector is Qu, which is m dot Cp into Tfo minus Tfi. Okay, so here Tfo minus Tfi into m dot Cp. So this is the first. Second equation which can be derived, which is derived from this formulation, is Qu, useful heat gain rate, is equal to Fr Ap. Ap is the aperture area. S is the absorbed flux. UL overall heat loss coefficient. Tfi fluid inlet temperature, and then Ta is the ambient temperature. So this equation gives you the useful heat gain rate from the solar radiation which is falling on the collector. So this is equation. This is the equation called Hotel-Villiers-Bliss equation. Okay, so in this equation, Fr is the new term which is being introduced here. Now Fr is the heat removal factor, which can be evaluated using the following this expression. Now Fr is equal to m dot. M dot is the flow rate, Cp specific heat of the fluid, UL overall heat loss coefficient, Ap collector area. Then 1 minus exponential, again F dash is the collector efficiency factor. UL, Ap, m dot Cp are all known. So this is the expression to calculate heat removal factor. Now some notes about heat removal factor or some observations about heat removal factor. Collector heat removal factor is an important design parameter, since it is a measure of the thermal resistance encountered by the absorbed solar radiation in reaching the collector fluid. So it is more or less a thermal resistance offered by the fluid to the heat flow. Then Fr also represents the ratio of the actual useful heat gain rate to the gain which would occur if the collector absorber plate was at the temperature Tfi. If the temperature of the fluid and temperature of the plate remain same, then the value of Fr will be very high. So the value that is discussed here, the value of Fr, collector heat removal factor, varies between 0 to 1. So Fr equal to 0 indicates no gain of heat by the fluid, even if the plate temperature is higher. And then this is a hypothetical scenario. If the plate is plate becomes hot, somehow the fluid is going to get the heat. But this is a hypothetical scenario. If the fluid is not getting heated, then Fr becomes 0. Then Fr equal to 1. In which situation Fr equal to 1? Fr equal to 1 indicates all the heat given by the plate is absorbed by the fluid. So the absorber plate and the fluid are at the same temperature. So this again is a hypothetical scenario. So it is practically not possible to have the same plate and fluid temperature. So then what is the real case? In real cases, plate temperature will always be higher than the fluid temperature. So the less the temperature difference between the plate and fluid, less will be the losses and higher will be the value of Fr. So collector heat removal factor is a function of mass flow rate and then overall heat transfer coefficient UL and specific heat of the fluid. So FR is a function of m dot UL and Cp. If we see the variation of FR with respect to mass flow rate, as we can see here on x-axis, mass flow rate is plotted, which is in liters per minute, and then on y-axis collector heat removal factor. Now we can see here, as mass flow rate goes on increasing, the collector heat removal factor goes on increasing here. So as the mass flow rate increases, collector heat removal factor increases, because the heat transfer coefficient, overall heat loss coefficient, goes on increasing. So if the effective heat transfer will be effective, because Reynolds number here increases with increase in mass flow rate. So this characteristic is obtained at f dash equal to 0.82, UL equal to 8 watt per meter square Kelvin, and Cp equal to 4180 joules per kg Kelvin. So this is the effect of mass flow rate on collector efficiency, collector heat removal factor. Now, what is the effect of overall loss coefficient on the heat removal factor? It is not much. It is not, can say, noticeable, we can say, because if we vary the overall loss coefficient from 4 watt per meter square Kelvin till 18 watt per meter square Kelvin, over this variation, the only change which is obtained in FR is 0.82 to 0.81. So broadly we can say that with increase in the overall heat loss coefficient, this is overall heat loss coefficient. So with increase in the overall heat loss coefficient, the collector heat removal factor decreases with a slight change, you can say, not much difference it makes. Again, the effect of specific heat of the fluid. Suppose you change the fluid from water to, say, some thermic fluid. So to have an idea about what change it would bring in the system, we have changed the Cp. Okay, so the Cp specific heat is changed from 4198, and in the uniform decrements it is reached to 1258. So the range of Cp is 1258 joules per kg Kelvin to 4198 joules per kg Kelvin. The fluids may not have these values, but just to study the variation, we have changed these values. Now over this range of Cp, the change of Fr is again minimal, 0.81, 81, 81 and 80. So as the specific heat goes on decreasing, again it has the same effect. The Fr, collector heat removal factor, goes on decreasing. So it is a decreasing effect. But in total, we can say, when we talk of the effect of m dot UL and Cp on Fr, we can say that effect of mass flow rate is predominant among all. So mass flow rate is a very important parameter to be controlled in the flat plate collector processes. Now let us revisit the Hotel-Villiers-Bliss equation. So Hotel-Villiers-Bliss equation is written useful heat gain rate again, FRAP S minus UL TFI minus TA, plus here there is a plus sign written. Why there is a plus sign written? This plus sign is assigned to this bracket TFI minus TA. TFI indicates the fluid in collector fluid inlet temperature. This is the temperature of the fluid which is entering the collector, and this TA is the temperature of the ambient. TFI will go down. Consecutively 2 days there is no temperature, there is no heating of the solar collector. In that case, if this TFI goes down and then this TA becomes high, say in the afternoon, TA becomes 30-35 degrees Celsius, and then TFI becomes, say, remains same 4 degrees Celsius, so 30 degrees Celsius. So this plus sign is that only positive values of this difference has to be taken into consideration for calculation. So how we physically can see this plus sign? There is a controller which is placed on in a collector circuit, you can say, which will prevent the low temperature water for entering into this, and it prevents this negative subtraction to happen. Okay, so this equation, Hotel-Villiers-Bliss equation, is is very convenient expression for calculating the useful energy gain rate. Because the inlet fluid temperature is usually a known quantity. We can easily place a thermocouple at the inlet pipe of the collector and then measure this quantity. So this is a easily measurable quantity. Now transmissivity of the glass cover tau and absorptivity of the plate alpha. Now something about tau and alpha. Transmissivity of the glass cover tau and absorptivity of the plate alpha depend on the angle of incidence. Therefore, the transmittance absorptance product, tau alpha product, also depends on the angle of incidence, theta. However, it is practically tedious and time consuming to always evaluate tau and alpha values with respect to theta, because theta is changing with respect to location, time, date. So every hour theta is changing. So it becomes very tedious and time consuming to calculate theta and then its dependence. Theta's influence on tau and alpha and then theta's influence on tau alpha product. Okay, so the variation in the values of tau and alpha as well as in the product tau alpha, a transmitter's absorptance product, is not considerable. So, and again the variation is not considerable. So therefore the practice is that average values of transmitter's absorptance product tau alpha are used in the performance estimation of FPC systems. So if we rewrite this equation, HWB equation, why this discussion has appeared here? Because S includes tau alpha product. Okay, so now if we rewrite the equation in this format, in a practical format, it is FRAP, Hotel-Wilhelmse equation is FRAP IT into tau alpha. Now this tau alpha will be the average values of tau alpha. Okay, and then minus all the remaining things are same. Now again writing QU, AP, IT, FR tau alpha, this is what will be. In the above equation, the parameters FR tau alpha, now we bring this FR inside and make it FR tau alpha and FR multiplied by UR. So we create two parameters here. So AP into bracket IT FR tau alpha minus FRUL. Now in the above equation, this FR tau alpha and FRUL, they form the characteristic of the solar flat plate collector. So they define the collector characteristic. These two parameters are very important from the point of view of performance of the collector. Because what happens here, FR tau alpha, in FR tau alpha, FR indicates thermal efficiency of the collector. As we have seen, it is FR indicates the thermal effectiveness of the film. So it indicates the thermal efficiency of the collector, and tau alpha indicates optical efficiency of the collector. So the overall efficiency, collector efficiency factor, it is indicated by FR tau alpha product. That's why this parameter becomes useful and it characterizes the collector. Second, FRUL, it is a collector loss coefficient. It indicates what will be the rate of heat loss from the collector. So viewing the importance of these two parameters, Indian standards have made it mandatory. Bureau of Indian Standard has made it mandatory to mention these parameters on the nameplate. We have already seen in our previous presentation that for this sample nameplate, FR tau alpha values and FRUL values are given here. So this becomes mandatory. So these are those FR tau and FRUL values. Now again concentrating on this HWB equation. So if AP, in this equation AP is the aperture area. So if AP in the normal case is aperture area, but if AP is not specified, then collector area may be used. Okay, and then means in absence of specification of AP, then AC may be normally used for in place of this AP. Now if beam radiation, diffuse radiation and global radiation values from data are available in megajoule per meter square. We have seen in our previous presentations that IB, ID and IG values generally are available in megajoule per meter square. So meteorological data gives that those figures in megajoule per meter square. So then if those values are available in megajoule per meter square, then IT, how we can calculate IT? IT is equal to IBRB plus IDRD plus IGRR. Okay, so IT may be evaluated in megajoule per meter square. So the value of IT also comes in a megajoule per meter square. So if the value of megajoule per meter square of IT is substituted here, this equation can also be in megajoule per meter, megajoules, as here meter square will go here. So the value of Qu can also be found in megajoules. Megajoules of useful heat gain rate over a period of time, say 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. But in such case, one care must have to be taken that this U is watt per meter square Kelvin. Now, if you are using IT megajoules here or joules here, unit of energy, then you have to convert this watt into joules or megajoules. So if you want to convert this watt into joules, you have to multiply this by 3600. Okay, so if the only change we have to do is to multiply UL values by 3600. If all these this equation, all these parameters have to be consistent. So now efficiency of the collector may be given using this expression is instantaneous efficiency, we can define as Qu. So useful heat gain rate upon input of the collector. AP is the collector area into IT. Okay, so that comes out to be here, this FR tau alpha minus FRUL TFI minus TA on APIT. So this is the expression for the efficiency. This is just a simplification. Now, if useful heat gain rate Qu, if Qu is set equal to 0, then IT is evaluated, and then we will evaluate, then if we evaluate IT here, then the resulting IT is called ITC, that is called critical radiation level. So if you equate this to Q equal to 0 and then rearrange the equation, then the value of IT, which is called ITC, critical radiation level, is FRUL TFI minus TA, again positive values only, FR tau alpha. Okay, so at this condition, what does this indicate? At this radiation intensity, useful heat gain rate is 0. So what happens at this condition? Absorbed radiation becomes equal to collector losses. So absorbed radiation, they balance the collector losses, so Qu becomes 0. So this is one way the threshold of radiation below which the collector will not work, collector will not deliver, and above which the collector will start working, it will start delivering the positive energy. So this may be the start of the day for solar thermal flat plate collector systems. Start of the day and end of the day switches or sensors can be set on the basis of this value, ITC value, critical radiation level values. Okay. Then useful gain rate can also be expressed in terms of mean plate temperature. Okay. Now this is expressed in terms of collector fluid inlet temperature. We can express the useful heat gain rate also on the basis of mean plate temperature. But mean plate temperature is not generally known, so this equation is not much popular in practical experiences or in practical field. So just for the sake of mention, here it is given. Q is equal to AP, again collector area, aperture area, ITFR tau alpha minus UL. Here here FR doesn't come into picture, UL will come into picture, TPM minus TA. So with the known values of UL, one can estimate TPM. Now with Hotel-Williams equation, you estimate Qu. Okay, so you substitute the value of Qu. Now I am discussing here what is the utility of this equation. Suppose somebody is interested in finding out the mean plate temperature. Then you estimate useful heat gain rate using Hotel-Williams equation. Substitute the value of Qu here. You know AP, you know IT, FR tau alpha and ambient temperature, UL. So UL has to be known. So with known value of UL, TPM only is unknown. So TPM you can estimate from this equation. At a certain maximum value of IT max in a day or year, if useful heat gain rate Qu is set equal to 0 and corresponding fluid inlet temperature is obtained, then that temperature is called fluid stagnation temperature of the collector. This is a very important parameter. You can see here. So again, if you see the equation, you set this to be equal to 0. Okay, if you set this to be equal to 0, IT FR tau alpha will remain, and then you find out the expression for TFI. So this TFI become TSTF. So this is the expression. So stagnation fluid temperature is TA plus IT max. Now generally this practice is followed when solar radiation is maximum, because we are interested in knowing the maximum temperature of the fluid which that collector will produce in stagnation condition. So TA plus IT max FR tau alpha FRUL, that is with this expression you can find out the stagnation fluid temperature. Now this condition describes the situation of stopping the fluid flow rate, that is m dot equal to 0. So what does this indicate? In a collector, if you stop the pump, you stop the fluid flow rate, then it will not deliver any. It will not deliver any hot water. It will not deliver any energy. So the water will remain in the collector. In that case, the fluid in the absorber plate attains the maximum temperature, that is TSTF. So knowledge of stagnation temperature is useful as an indicator of comparing different collector designs. So same flat plate collector design with same dimension but different manufacturers, if you want to compare which is better, then in that case you get the data of stagnation fluid temperature. The higher the stagnation temperature, the better is the collector. So that is generally one parameter on which you can decide the collector. So with this we come to the end of our solar flat plate collector performance analysis. Testing and design we will follow, but after attempting some numerical examples. So in our next session we will attempt some numerical examples on topics covered so far. Thank you.